Hello, hello, hello. We are back with another episode of the Jane Warren podcast. And I have a guest here today, and we are going to talk about something I don't think I've ever brought someone in that spoke specifically about not only being a new immigrant to Canada, but also about transitioning from a corporate job in the big corporate world into solopreneurship, entrepreneurship. I've got Jagmeet with me here today. Jagmeet, I'm so happy. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here talking to you and to your audience. Lovely having you here.
This is great. So, Jagmeet and I met from our Monday Girl community, which we're both a part of. And as two entrepreneurs wanting to just network and meet people, the universe brought us together. And I was like, this woman is doing things. And I wanted to bring her on here to share her story because it is so inspiring. It is so complete polar opposite of my entire life and maybe some of yours, but also maybe very aligned to some of listeners right now, maybe aligned to you. And this might inspire you to take the steps that you want to take to really start changing your life. So, listeners, thank you for being here. If you are new to the Jane Warren podcast, welcome. Big welcome to you. If you're returning, you know I love you. And thank you for taking this time out of your day to truly better yourself. Who wouldn't want to do that? This is the best use of your time. So, before we dive into it, Jagmeet, let me share your bio with everyone so that they know what you've been up to and who you are. So, Jagmeet is the CEO and founder at Opulent Castle with 8 years of experience in sales and marketing. She's pivoted to tech from the food industry. So, let's learn here now all about her journey and how she not only founded her own company just in the last 2 years in Canada, but also came to Canada at the same time. So, Jagmeet, why don't you share with us first here on your journey? So, I mean, you've teased us here. You went from the corporate world into entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
and like, how have you started to create this life for yourself?
So first of all, thank you so much, Jane. Again, it's an honor to share my journey with so many people out there, and I think we all are unique. Some people can actually resonate with my struggles, but there could be some completely people those who might not have the same journey, but we just sort of kind of have to understand what we all are going through. So it's going to be for everyone and not just for the immigrants. So yeah, it looks so fancy to have your own company and be your own boss, but reality is different. That's what I'm going to be really throwing my light on. So we have stories from highly motivating successful people, but not from the people that are actually doing it. So that's what I'll be talking more about today. But to start my journey, I really had great career back home in India, in Mumbai. I really had, worked with global MNCs, worked on regional projects, brought so many change management projects. Everything was structured. At times, I had two managers to guide me through what needs to be done. I used to have the proposal, everything written. Just you have to be there. So many friends. All my jobs were in person. So meeting people, customers from Nestle, Coca-Cola, visiting countryside, having the wine tasting along with my customers. It was so much fun. I loved it. But then, life had so many surprises for me. So there were so many life events. So I got married, moved cities, and then I started my journey to Canada, where again, COVID happened. So I left my job in food tech, which was a regional role at a very cool company. They used to make perfumes for Gucci and Versace. So that's
Not
the
bad.
ingredient. I know, right? And I left that job in between COVID, and I had nowhere to go. So I pivoted to tech sales because that's the only remote job at that point of time I could do. So it's just the life event that happened. But yeah, a lot of learning involved there, and then sort of struggle with tech world, learn their jargons and everything. So I actually got some success, and then moved to Canada, where I was hired by Microsoft for doing their partner development management program. Again, a great opportunity to learn from the tech giant, cloud worlds. Everything was super. Life looked like I'm watching everything from rose spectacles, right?
Yeah,
But
everything you ever imagined and wanted was
yeah,
happening for you.
imagine you're working at Microsoft Toronto office, right? So it was so cool,
Crazy.
great views, and of course, Toronto skyline is amazing with CN Tower in it. But it's never lasted for a long time. So the first year was good, but then I was laid off by Microsoft because I was a vendor there and I was the first one to, leave their team. So that did not happen. And then I was all alone looking out for a job. It did not happen. And I'm the kind of person, I don't like to wait for certain opportunities. I like to create my own opportunities. It might sound cliche, but that's how it is. I don't like to wait for something to happen in my life. So I don't have the patience, in other words, if I say. So I started doing some freelance projects for startups, bringing in some business development, doing their business analysis in the tech world. And I sort of had a jewelry business, which I wasn't enjoying better because, of course, you don't get money. You're new to Canada, and there are so many things to learn, pay your bills. Of course, we were as a couple there, me and my husband. So we were able to support the house. We had savings and everything. But of course, the reality started hitting when I did not get job for 3 months. And then I went back to see my parents because I had some free time that I never had it for my 8 year long career. So I tried to utilize that time, spend with them, but eventually you need money, right? And this is, I don't know why, I knew that I was be laid off in June 30th, 2023. But on June 13th, I registered my company. It's just the calling. I don't know how it happened, but that's how it started. And I sort of had that company, did some freelance for work for 6 months, and then actually started with my own company. So I actually put my website, logo, all the small details that you enjoy, right? I actually put
Mhm.
my heart and soul in every leaflet I made, a website. I started talking to people. I think that's how I became an entrepreneur. It was just an accidental experience. But I sort of already had that entrepreneurial mindset in my mind working on because I did not want to wait for anything, and that was the demand of the time. So that's how, if I have to summarize it, the whole experience, that's how it was.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, of course, when you look back, you see all the cards fell into place exactly as they should. Not saying that, as we're going to dive deeper into this, that the journey is easy or has been easy at all. But, everything happened exactly as it should for you, even amongst all of those challenges that you had. And that's just, it's so inspiring for you to take that leap of faith, to take that leap. It's interesting you said though how, it didn't just like it kind of happened your entrepreneurship journey, and I feel the same with mine is
Mm,
now I'm not sure about you, but when I worked in the corporate space too, I
okay.
used to say to my good friend Danielle, who is now still in that space, she's a VP in project delivery. And, I used to say to her, Danielle, we're going to one day have our own company. Like, I just knew there was something funny in me. I was just like, I'm going to have my own business. I
You
went
know,
to school for business marketing, but I was like, I'm going to have my own business. I'm like, we're going to have our own agency and we're going to call it Common Sense Marketing. I'll never forget this because every freaking company lacks common sense. And I was in my early 20s and I was like, how is this company functioning this way? Like, I'm like, nothing makes sense to me. And I'm a very rational person. So we would be doing things and I'm like, so it's for me, I mean, I always think I knew I would have my own business, but as I was going through my corporate career, I wasn't like, I can't wait for the day to have my own business. Like I had no idea. But this is what sets, entrepreneurs apart. There's people that are like, I'm going to make a business work. Like I have to make this work. I have this thing I want to do. And then
yeah,
there's other visionaries like yourself and myself that have done so many things along the way. We're going to continue to do so many different things. And we just do what we feel passionate about,
oh yeah, indeed, for sure. Yeah.
which is great. Okay, so why don't we talk a little now on, so you came to Canada, you were a new immigrant. What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced? Because like I can only imagine coming into a completely different culture, coming into, another country, not that in India spoke English, all that, but it's like you have to adjust to
Yeah.
everything. So tell us about some of the biggest challenges that like you had to overcome coming here, as well as when you started your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, I'll share the good points about Canada. So registering your business, keeping the paperwork, keeping those things minute detail. I know when we are into corporate or maybe working somewhere else, or you don't know what to do, right? You just lost. Even the basic details like how you should logo, you design your logo is sometimes it's like a hurdle. You don't know what to do, right? It's as basic because you have a lot of brain fog there. But I would still say, for me, that was a piece of cake because I was focused and I actually started doing registering my business, having my logo made from somewhere else, started, working on the budget. So I think that was settled. So now the fundamental is ready. The shop is ready, but how you ask your customers to come. Even before that, how you tell people that, um, I was going to the job fairs like a month ago, and then my entire mindset shifted. I had to do so much learning in terms of what questions do I ask people? How do I do my elevator pitch? How do I practice this? How I tell people that, hey, I've just been new here in Canada. It's been just 1 year, and I have my own company. When I told people, they were delighted, happy, they were motivated. But it was hell of an experience, if I put that way. I was petrified. I did not know when to laugh, because you understand the dialect of the people is different here, as to my country. Even if I worked in global setup, I had so much learning involved. I was petrified when I used to enter the events. So the challenges were I did not know anyone. Forget about customers. Even if you put some money, do some advertisement, run some ads on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, it's a lot of money. I mean, I'm new. I don't have any grants, any money, any backup, and of course, I have life to support, right? So the money was the big challenge. uh, Call me crazy, but that's how I took the decision. But I had to really plan well on my finances. So I went to some free events. Of course, I did not get leads. You don't get leads on free events sometimes. If you're lucky,
Mhm.
you get it. But you get to practice your 30-second elevator pitch. So I think all the challenges those were coming in my way, I somehow created opportunity in everything I faced. I think I did not plan that well. It just happened along the way. It's just like you put some good suit, go to an event,
Yeah.
talk to people, introduce yourself, and I think half of your pain is ease. So you lighten the mood, not for other people, but for you. So forget about customers. Yes, I did not even know a single person who would support my venture or help me, like, hey, Jagmeet, that's what you're not doing right. So I had managers at times. I had friend circles. So due to time zone, I could not really talk to all my friends. And just a disclaimer here, all my friends are employees. So their mindset was completely different than
Mm.
mine. I do not have any entrepreneurs in the family. They all are farmers and employees of companies. So I was all alone mentally, with my friends and family. I had no network. I think that was the biggest challenge, even more than finance. So having network is so important. Even if you just send someone message on LinkedIn, that did not happen for me because you're so
Mhm.
new to the country. Even if I had Microsoft on my resume, and I was not sure whether I should go back to looking for a job or continue doing my freelance work. And then one fine day, it just, it just happened to me. I cannot be living my life in fear all the time, forget about everybody else. And I happened to join two communities, wonderful communities, Monday Girl, Toast. I actually started talking to people. I enrolled onto their mentorship programs, and they were so amazing leadership women out there in leadership that really helped me. How do I just, break the ice when I talk to people? So I got a great example. I think that would be really helpful for some of the audience listening to. So I forgot about like what I had in the past. So they said, even if you work for any big client, and if you know someone, somehow associated with that client or with that company, be shamelessly telling that this is the company you worked for. Use some brand names. It's okay to take that, because then you have some common element to start your
Mm-hmm.
conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I actually gather all the information. I actually write it down, all my tips, and I actually follow them thoroughly, just like a blueprint, or maybe something like a Bible, right now, So these things really help me. And yeah, these are the few biggest challenges, but every day is a challenge as an entrepreneur. So
Mm-hmm.
the few things that I would like to highlight today.
And that's so many great learnings. I mean, I know too that elevator pitch, easier said than done, because especially as I'm a constant evolution. Like what
Yeah,
I was doing in December, the way I was talking in December, if you just go back and look at my Instagram, is different from what I'm talking about now. So now I'm like so selective. And
yeah,
it's true, like when you networking and being surrounded by that community and going to these events, like knowing if you're an entrepreneur or if you aren't an entrepreneur, and like knowing what you do, like how do you say that? How do you say it in a way that's going to spark more interest, or spark conversation?
yeah,
But I
yeah,
do believe, and I love that you touched on the importance of, community and getting that support. And there are so many, I mean, free spaces, paid spaces
yeah, yeah,
to surround yourself with like-minded people, because a lot of us entrepreneurs, yeah, my family's not filled with entrepreneurs, like
yeah,
yeah, some people have done some like, they're all had my family is such a diverse background, but no one's there just like running their own business. And my friends equally so, all my friends, other than the women I've met in the communities I'm in,
yeah, yeah,
are in corporate and or in other industries. So they just
yeah,
don't see things the same way I do. And, I'm also at a level of awareness that not everyone around me is at. So finding those, because you're right. You could have all, I mean, everyone already has all the knowledge they need, but you could have all the things know that money's coming to you, or feel financially secure and be completely stuck because you don't have support and you're getting in your own head and you have no one to talk about it with,
oh yeah, scariest ever, but yeah. That's how it is.
because those fears are just going to hold you back, like without a doubt, and then also I've always find in my communities, you might follow someone on Instagram or follow someone on LinkedIn or social media, and you pedestal them because you see them and you're like, wow, they've got it all together. Holy, she's killing it. Like, look at her. Her business must be booming, et cetera, et cetera. Then
Yeah,
you get in a room with her and then you start talking, and it's like the conversations I have in my DMs with women, and they're like, whoa. I mean, my Instagram is as real as it can get. Like everything on my Instagram is truth. They talk to me though, because obviously a post can only get so much information out. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so it's like I talk to them in DMs. We may go into some struggles. We may go into those challenges. And they're like,
yeah,
really? Like, oh, I didn't know that you would have felt this way. I'm like, well, yeah, all of us entrepreneurs are out here struggling. Like, we're all,
yeah.
working through it every single day.
Oh yeah, we just put a face. Nobody knows
Exactly.
what's going in the back end.
Exactly. So why don't we talk now a little bit on being a female entrepreneur?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you feel are some of your like unique perspectives or strengths that you bring to your business? And what type of advice would you give other women that may want to start their own venture? Maybe they're considering immigrating, maybe they're immigrated. Like, what would you say to them? And what are some of your unique strengths and perspectives?
Sure. I think I love this question. And it all starts with one answer that you already working a lot on this space mindset. So we need as women. we want to do it all and we want to do it now. That is so wrong. I mean, it's not possible in the human capacity, because even if a machine that's making cloth in a daytime, it needs some cool time during night, right? That's why we have night. So please do not take it very aggressively, ambitiously. I know we all think that we waste a lot of time. We might have done this last year or 5 years ago, but I think even if I'm saying right now, I'm still practicing, and I need to learn that, of course. But yes, take one day at a time is the biggest advice I can give it to any women. I have been meeting women in and out since I started my business, because I would understand that the way they do things are different. The way we understand, the way our emotions function would be different. And all of them, they just undervalued the work they were putting in their business. So if you talk to a guy who's running his business, he'll be very blunt. I need money. And we will be like, oh, let's do partnership. I will not charge you for the project. So don't do that. Put that smart, cool face and ask for money and do less. We do a lot of work. Of course, it demands a lot of work if you want to grow, whether you're men or women. But I think we need to give ourselves enough credit. Like, call yourself a CEO. If even if you just go to my LinkedIn right now, how many
Hmm.
times I put CEO and took it down, and I just
Yeah.
put business head. It could be business decision as well for many people, but it just like we just don't value enough. I think that's one thing. And second would be, we need to learn to delegate. I did not do it in the beginning, and I went crazy and I was burnt out. In the first 3 weeks I started my business, I was crazy. I wasn't even sleeping at night. I was just sleeping a couple of
Hmm.
hours. And I did not even have any customer at that point of time, that I have to work on a project. Maybe it's getting me money. It did not get me money. And then I had to really sit it down and block my time, my me time, my less burning out time. I don't know what you call it as, but yeah,
Hmm.
I do block my time for myself. I think that needs to be done, because then your creativity suffers to some extent. I think it's regardless the gender, but I have been learning a lot. This is a learning journey for me. It's just 1 year. I'm not even that successful to share a few details, but I think so far I've seen women don't voice it out enough, that what they are doing. And of course, it starts with home, right? So start delegating some jobs to your partner, your family members, even your kids. You don't feel guilty. That I don't have kids right now, but I feel a lot of people, uh, entrepreneurs, they are doing a lot of things. They are visiting customers, they are taking care of their kids, they're cooking for them, they're doing so many hobbies for the children and everybody. I think we just need to learn to delegate. If you don't delegate at your home, I think you're never going to be a good leader and set that example in your company. So I think that's what we need to do. I take a lot of help from my husband, from my family, even if I have to work. So I worked on this amazing framework. I think that might be already there, but this is just for me. So if you if you know something and you love to do that, do it for yourself. For in my case, it would be social media content creation, because I really want my brand's voice to be there as is. And then there are few things I don't know how to do it, and I don't like to do it. For instance, accounting. So I have an accountant taking care of those things. Even if it's not a lot, I can do it, but I just like it, I don't like it, right? And then there are a few things you really need to know and you don't like it. So you can just learn that skill and adapt it accordingly. In my case, it was development, coding. I did not learn full coding, but I need to learn few things, because that's what the business I am in. And yeah,
Hmm.
so this way, we have to sort our things out, delegate. I know it could be expensive to hire a virtual assistant or anything, but there are few manual things that we do. I really get a lot of help. So I outsource people from Asia, for a few hours and not for the entire month or full time. I think that's a tip I also got one of the mentors I've hired. So that's what we need to do. And last but not the least, and very important, I think we take our business as a hobby. It shouldn't be a hobby. You shouldn't be passionate and control freak about everything you do. Lose control and enjoying the process of managing. So be the leader you always wanted to be when you have your company, rather than doing everything and burning out and try to be on all the places. So you let loose, enjoy the process at the same time. Um, put some time in your development and learning. This is not the end of the world. So these are a few things that I think I'll be doing in future.
Okay. I was taking mental notes. I should have literally, my pen and paper in my book is just closed. So that was not smart. But you said so many good things. So, firstly, I love well, the way my brain works is I'll work backwards because I'll base off what you just said, and then my brain will collectively put everything else together. But I love the fact of it's so true, losing control. That could be one of the best things that
Yeah.
anyone in, whether you're in the corporate world
Yeah.
or your business, because if you have a tight grip on the way you want everything to work out, you are
Yeah.
limiting yourself.
Yeah.
You obviously have a vision, you have a life that you want to live. If you don't have that, then we all got to talk. But you want
Yeah.
to have that vision, you want to have that, and really it's the burning desire for the lifestyle that you want, the burning desire is, whatever it is that we do that we're so passionate about, the money will come, everything else will come. But if you are truly deeply passionate about what you're doing, everything else is going to fall into place. And you need to allow it to, because I've evolved immensely over the last 6 months. And it's, I'm not surprised I'm now going to launch the things I am. It was only a matter of time, but I had to do the self discovery to really get clear on that. You said something else very interesting. You said you are just a year in and, not that successful with, no, I'm paraphrasing, but you said something along those lines.
Yeah.
That's a perspective. That's, the thing is, by saying that, like, you are successful. Where you are now, okay, like, you're here was once your I want to be there, but you're here now.
Yeah.
So you are successful, just a little reframe for you, because
Yeah.
you may not feel successful in comparison to people that had their businesses for multiple years. Of
Yeah.
course, I look at my coach, 15 years, and she's always humbling us like, calm the fuck down, because literally, like, I've had this business for, and now she's also greatly evolved her business. And I think too, I'm like, I've had my business for 4 years. And I think sometimes I get caught. I'm like, oh, I really thought like I would be here. But then the flip side is like, I started my business doing fitness. Like,
Mhm.
if you looked at my Instagram, you'd have no clue. If you didn't know anything about me, you'd have no idea that my business started with virtual fitness. And, it's like, but you are incredibly successful, and like, just reminding you of that, and of course, that's just a thought. It just came out. And it's like, but it's also these beliefs that we have, because I used to feel the exact same. I used to say all the time, I didn't even feel like my business was worth talking about. Like, I believed in what I was doing, but I almost didn't believe it was worth
Yeah.
talking about or bringing up, because then people are like, I even had a friend say to me the other weekend, I was talking about the potential of what I can earn in my business with these new things I'm rolling out in the corporate world.
Yeah.
And she was like, and I said, oh, I stopped my project management contract. It was done at the end of June. And now I'm like, okay, now I have the possibility to double, triple, quadruple that income. And
Wow.
her first thing was, well, are you making that now? And I was like, no, like, not, I don't see it in my bank account today, but it's happening, like, it's already happening. The pieces are already getting placed.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that belief is so, so key. But oh my gosh, those things that you said were just so great, and I think are really gonna spark some interest and maybe open some awareness in some of the listeners.
Yeah, yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
so as we're coming close to the end here, what would you say is some of the key lessons that you've learned so far in this entrepreneurship journey? And, what tip would you leave our listeners with if they're trying to kind of navigate this for themselves?
Yeah. So, firstly, when you hear this motivation quotes or other things around the internet, that be your own boss. So, when you're building a business, it's not just about being your own boss. It's the responsibility, it's the passion, it's beyond success, as you rightly mentioned. So, sit back thoroughly and make sure that if that money is not coming, which you're having from your paycheck right now, will you be still be willing to do this job for 6 months? If you have that
Mhm.
sort of heart and encouragement, then only venture in entrepreneurship. Of course, this is not like the rule. We all have our mindset, and feel free to venture, but I think it can be scary at times. You don't have money for months. So how you stay motivated, and we only can stay motivated if we love to do something. Nobody can in the world force us to do things that we don't want to do, right? So think
Mhm.
about that. It's just not having your own time. It's about when you have your time and what you do. I think in the beginning, when I was laid off, there was no 8 hour time sheet that I had to report to. The first thing was, when do I get up? How do I have the schedule in place? What time do I make my lunch? Do I make it fresh? Uh, Basic details, right? And it actually took me a month to actually wake up on time and start doing the work in the morning. And then towards the end, oh my God, it's my passion. I have to work, and I used to work so late. I think before you venture into something, you must put those details and be visionary. I mean, look at yourself, what you want, and how will you go there. We all know what we want. We want our time, more money, but how will you get there, and what you do in between is what is more important than just being your own boss. So that's the cliche I never like. I'm not my own boss. Of course, I am in a way, but I like to be more responsible. So I would still enact, and I think that's the learning I get from my corporate. So I still work like how my CEOs used to do in my previous companies. So I want to function, talk the same way. I have 12 employees, and I actually take their development very seriously, even if I don't have a paid plan in place. I make sure that I act like one. So if in 5 years I'll be a CEO of a $1 million company, how will I behave? So have those habits inculcating, practicing right from day one. So when you sit at your computer, sit it like it's your full-time job, rather than, oh, I have to drop my kids, I have so much time, I can cook for my mama, my father, just take it very seriously. I think this is just a lot of work to be done for, in terms of your self-discipline perspective and your mindset. Your mindset should always be $1 million, not like a small business, not successful. I think that really sets you, for success, I would say. And I think well begin is half done. I think that's so nicely done. I have not done that way, but I think I want other female entrepreneurs or even entrepreneurs to do that self assessment very seriously. And then, second, if you have a primary income and you still want to do the entrepreneurial journey, you want to go to that journey, I would say build on your financial acumen more than the actual journey, I would say. So have that money right in place, your mindset, and I think that's how you're good to go. Don't just leave it just because you're stressful, you want to have your own time, you're stuck in somewhere. just have that calculation in mind before you go ahead and start building your networking accordingly. I cannot emphasize enough on this part. So let's say I'm a person, I want to start my own company. I'm just trying to put some details. Maybe 6 months later, I'll do that. So I have to build two kinds of networking, one for employees or maybe the kind of work culture we have, and one for the entrepreneurs. Go for award nights with the entrepreneurs, visit them and see what they are doing. Just Googling and talking to them and asking about entrepreneurship and how did you do it? What do you do it? I would love to see your journey. I love to talk about you. How did you do certain things? I think we should do it before even we get started into our business. I did not do these things, by the way. I think I feel it's taking me time. In addition to the business development, policy making, bank account opening, I'm doing a lot of things altogether. I think we can save a lot of money and time there. So I think these are few quick tips, transactional, tactical, not very motivational. These are really helpful and handy tips for any entrepreneur. And before I end my, what I'm talking right now, I would say do not think any country, your life events as hurdles. I could pass it. I did not even plan that well. I would just happen to be in Canada. Everything just fell in place. I was hired by Microsoft, laid off by Microsoft, and still I was able to do it. And let me tell you, I did not have that much money in my account when I started that. So these are just small things that come in your way, but I think you as an entrepreneur, your journey, your passion is more important than any of the problems right now you have it. So I think that's the biggest thing that we can think about it. So yeah.
Ooh, that was so good. So many amazing tips and advice from you. And you're exactly right. And I learned this, and I'm literally getting driven home even more every year in my journey, every like this coaches that I've worked with. And it's really like money is the byproduct of what you're doing. It's just a byproduct. It's
Yes.
like not even a result. Like, it's just you are showing up, you are pursuing your passion and purpose, and
Yeah.
you are serving or helping others in some way, and money is a byproduct of that. And I totally agree with you on getting, taking yourself seriously on, your schedule, your time. I fully know what you mean that, I started off all into my business, and then I picked up a contract. I went back all into my business, picked up a contract. Now I'm back all into my business. And I was all switched backwards. Like I was used to starting my workday at 5:30 a.m. because of my contract. Then all of a sudden, I can go back to my slow mornings. I can go back. I'm always an early bird, but like I can go back to working out in the morning, not at lunch. My whole schedule flipped upside down. And then when I was starting work at 8 a.m., I felt like I was behind because I used to start at 5:30 a.m. So it's
Yeah.
really like figuring out for you how you want to work your day. Similar to you coming from corporate, I fully work that quote unquote 9 to 5. But like, I work within this window
Yeah.
where I know in my mind, I'm like, okay, or really till like 3. But I'm like, this is my productive time.
Yeah.
And you're so right. Like setting like where you work. I used to have my desk. So I live on the main floor of a house. And so, there's limited space. My kitchen used to be my workout space. It used to be my gym, my virtual gym. So I never saw it as my office space. I
Yeah.
created a tiny desk space in my room. Like I say tiny, tiny. And I used to work from there. I couldn't even have 2 monitors. I couldn't do anything. Then one day, when my contract ended, I was like, I got to change some shit around. Like this is last year. I'm like, I had actually been writing in my journal when I talk about my dream space, this bright office space, this bright, big office space. And I had like
Yeah.
plants and everything. And I'm like, my kitchen is bright all day because it's west facing. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, it's bright all day. Why
Yeah.
would I not buy a freaking sit stand desk, which I was writing about too? And I created an office space in my kitchen, put this big plant. It's been like literally, I can't believe I've kept it alive since September. And it's like, I created that. And
Yeah.
this is like the simple things that And then I sit at my desk like a freaking boss. I actually have like on my wall, I have my magazine that I was like on a cover, show it if you're watching the video. And like
Ah,
literally, I put that up on my wall so I see it every freaking day. I'm like, I was
yeah.
on the cover of a magazine. And it's like you got to do these things for yourself because it makes you feel good. Like I actually work from my
Indeed.
desk. Now sometimes I do work on my bed. It's like when I want creativity. I'll light a candle, I'll go in my room. It's a vibe and I'm like, okay, I want that, but I primarily work at my desk so I can separate it.
Oh yeah, indeed. We all need to do that for creating the vibe so that you are, you set the tone and you're good to go. I actually do that, and when I actually miss working with larger teams because I used to have it in corporate, it sometimes could be, you're just all alone, your creativity dies. Then I use the Slack channels. I talk to community, just to make me feel that I'm part of the community. I have a larger team. So you got to do these things to make yourself going and stay motivated. So
Yeah, no doubt.
correct.
Well, Jagmeet, your journey is amazing. I like honestly, I
Yeah.
can't wait for what's in store for both of us because you already are putting the foundation in place. You are building what you want and you have the openness to evolve, right? You have the openness to let this entrepreneurship journey take you wherever the wind's going to take you. And this is for sure going to inspire some listeners. So, listeners,
Yeah.
if you really enjoyed this, I'm going to have all Jagmeet's links in the show notes. But where do you show up? Where can people find you?
I am readily available on LinkedIn. I have all my calendar, my CTAs on LinkedIn. I think that's the best place to be in. Direct message me or just find me on my website as well. So easily approachable.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. This has been so wonderful.
It was so fun chatting with you. So much learning from you as well, especially when I don't call myself successful. But that's a learning I'm taking from you. Look forward to seeing your journey as well. And thank you so much, everyone, to join us today. Thank you.